Welcome to Grab or Stab. I'm Matt McFarland. Here, we grab if it's good, and we stab if it's not. Today, I'll be talking about Scream 6, which was released in 2023. But before we get into all that, let me explain how decisions are made around this place on whether or not to grab or stab a movie. First of all, it comes down to how good are the kills, second, the characters, third, the Ghostface reveal, and lastly, how scary is it? Directed again by Matt Bettinelli Olpin and Tyler Gillette, the sixth movie follows the survivors of the fifth movie, this time in New York. You can bet your sweet little perky little ass that Ghostface is along for the ride in New York as well. However, Ghostface in this one seems really pissed off. I think Ghostface is really mad about this move to New York. Even at one point saying that who gives a fuck about movies? Which is just rude. I love movies. After the financially successful fifth movie, the sixth movie was quickly greenlit. Although the fifth movie did have some mixed reviews from fans, especially considering that the fifth movie was supposed to be a baton pass from the old characters to the new ones, but a lot of the new characters just didn't land for a lot of people, including me. So movie number 6 had to make up for that and really develop these new characters into something that could carry the franchise forward. Not to add any pressure to the situation, but it probably did add some extra pressure when we all found out for the first time in the franchise we would get a Scream movie without Neve Campbell in it. And from everything I could dig up, it sounds like it was mainly because they didn't offer her a contract she felt she deserved. But before you start pointing fingers, let's be honest, we don't know what the hell happened. Maybe they lowballed her, or maybe Neve asked for too much money. We don't know. Filming for the sixth movie took place for the first time in the franchise outside of the US in Montreal, Canada, over the span of about 3 months in mid-2022. Several of the B-roll shots you'll see throughout the movie, though, are in fact from New York. Scream 6 ended up being an even bigger success than the fifth movie and the third most successful movie in the franchise, bringing in about $170 million on a $35 million budget. So an angrier Ghostface and a completely new setting for the franchise? Well, before I tell you if I enjoyed Scream 6, let's get a little bit more into the plot. And it all starts in a traditional Scream fashion with a phone call, this time in a crowded restaurant. Here we meet Laura Crane, played by Samara Weaving, who also worked with directors Matt and Tyler on the comedy horror movie Ready or Not. When the team approached Samara about being in the movie, she was so excited that she accepted the role right away, and she basically just said, "Tell me when to be on a plane and I'll be there." Laura is a film studies professor at Blackmore University. She's here nervously waiting for a blind date that she met on an app called Flirter. Little fun fact too, the photo there for her blind date is actually her real-life husband and dog. The date then claims to be lost, which lures her outside into an alley where Ghostface kills her. And we then cut to the movie wait, what? Holy shit, we're in for something new here. Ghostface then removes his mask, tucks his costume into a backpack, and just walks away from the scene. Don't worry guys, I was just taking a little alley piss. That dead body is totally not mine, I swear. Oh hey, Tara, who stops and chats with the killer. Turns out they're classmates, and Tara's on her way to a frat party. Tara, you and your sister just have the best taste in friends. First Amber and Richie, and now this? Come on, we really gotta work on that. We also find out that this Ghostface was one of Laura's students. He killed her partially because of the C- she gave him, but mostly to practice before him and his roommate kill Tara and Sam Carpenter. The goal is to finish the movie that Richie and Amber wanted to make in Scream 5. By the way, I love that little Jason Takes Manhattan Easter egg. However, Jason then gets a call from Ghostface. Ghostface is once again voice acted by Roger Jackson. Ghostyface lets Jason know that he was nice enough to meal prep for him. Mutilated head, anyone? Goes great with Sweet Baby Ray's. But after seeing his roommate's mangled body in the fridge, Ghostface stabs Jason. But what about Jason's movie?
Who gives a fuck about movies?
Rude. After the movie title sequence, we transport to a therapy session with Sam, played once again by Melissa Barrera. Sam finally gives in and tells her therapist about how she killed her ex-boyfriend and kind of enjoyed it. He freaks out a little bit and Sam walks out. Hey man, you said you wanted details. As Sam's trying to find out where Tara is, her roommate Quinn Bailey's having a little wrestling match in her room.
Is that Paul?
Who the fuck is Paul?
Whoopsies. Quinn then tells Sam that Tara's at a frat party. Quinn also notices the apple of Sam's eye, the voyeur boy Danny, next door. At the frat party, we get treated to some Too Short while Mindy's enjoying some time with her girlfriend Annika on the couch, whose hair was created to look like Jennifer Jolie's from Scream 3. Tara's also making a new friend who's dressed up as Tom Cruise from Risky Business. Now Tara, didn't we talk about making friends with predatory men with a slurred speech? We'll talk about this a little bit more next week in our Acquaintances Anonymous meeting, but I'll give you a little bit of slack for now because I know you're only on step 3. We also see our old pal Chad hanging out with his new roommate, Ethan, who you might recognize from Avatar: The Way of the Water. Chad's trying to guideth the cock and get Ethan laid. But when Tara almost goes upstairs to, I'm sure, just admire date rape Frankie's new Ninja Turtle bedsheets, Chad blocketh the cock and Sam finishes off the guy's fantastic evening with a taser to the ballsack. That probably tingles. Can I borrow that later? Tara is once again played by Jenna Ortega, Chad is again played by Mason Gooding, and Jasmine Savoy Brown is reprising her role as Mindy. Outside the party, tensions are a little high. Tara wants to put the past behind them and just live a normal life. However, she feels like Sam won't give her any independence. We also see here that Sam's been getting harassed in public lately because of the rumors online that she was the true mastermind behind the killings from the 5th movie. Later in Tara's room, Chad and Tara almost kiss, but Quinn interrupts. Then we also see downstairs that Sam is secretly dating voyeur boy Danny, the window guy whose nose really wiggles when he talks. The group then sees on the news there's been another Ghostface attack. Sam decides her and Tara just gotta get the fuck out of town. However, it turns out their roommate Quinn's father, who followed her to New York, also happens to be assigned to Jason's case. Oh, and if you already forgot, Jason's the Ghostface wannabe that died earlier. Quinn's dad, Detective Wayne Bailey, calls Sam in for questioning because her ID was found at the scene of Jason's murder, along with the Ghostface mask worn during last year's attacks. Alright, so let's get a little inventory of what we've got so far. So the new killer clearly didn't want the other students taking his Sam and Tara kill. Okay, got that. The new killer also has a bit of nostalgia for the Stab movies. Okay, and also somehow got his sticky little fingers on some of the evidence from the previous murders. Okay. On the way to the station though, Ghostface calls Sam from Richie's phone number, then attacks the two, but they escape to a convenience store nearby. After a couple dead bystanders and a pretty damn intense scene, the cops arrive and Ghostface vanishes. By the way, Ghostface just killed somebody with a shotgun. That's kind of crazy. However, Ghostface does leave behind another Ghostface mask, this time a mask from the 2011 killings, which to us was the 4th movie. How the hell did Ghostface get all this evidence from the other murders? We then transport to the police station, and after some questioning with Wayne, we get to reunite with Kirby! You look different. Anyways, moving along, Kirby Reed is once again played by Hayden Panettiere.
I was a huge Kirby fan as well. I watch it, and I was one of those people, I didn't even know that it was a thing online or within the community that, oh, Kirby's still alive. I watch it, and I refuse to believe that she died. So that was pretty nice.
Fans weren't sure if she survived or not after being stabbed in the 4th movie, but we were all pretty excited to see the little Easter egg in the 5th movie that she did survive, which also meant a potential comeback in this one. Kirby is now an FBI agent and wants to help with what's going on. I don't know yet how I feel about the whole Kirby is now an FBI agent thing, but I'll talk about that more a little bit later. That's not the only familiar face we get to see again. What's up, Gail?
I loved it from the second I read it. First of all, I was just so happy that I survived Scream 5. She's evolved so much since the very beginning. Gail was very aggressive and only out for herself, and then you see a softer side of her around Scream 3, and then this particular one, I think she got a bit of her edge back, which was nice. She is relentless. She won't stop, even if she promises she will. Sam and Tara have moved to New York, and that's where Gail has a morning show.
Sam and Tara, though, aren't too happy about seeing Gail because of Gail's recent book about their stories. So a Sidney Prescott right-hand cross should do the trick. Gail also reveals that Sidney's not going to be around in this one. She's taken her family into hiding after the recent attacks, but sends her love. With Sid and Dewey gone, this officially gives Gail the trophy of being the only character in every single Scream movie. We then transport back to Sam's therapist's house, who's got his crusty-ass feet up and enjoying a little snack. But snack time gets interrupted by a knock at the door. And knock knock, who's there? A knife to the face is who? He dead. Ghostface then steals Sam's file and leaves behind a mask from Scream 3. No, seriously though, how the hell did this Ghostface get all this cool shit? We then cut to the next scene and Red Right Hand plays. We are then treated to another Scream Standard Horror Rule presentation, this time by Mindy. who tells us that the killer is following the franchise rules, specifically that anyone can die and the franchise will still continue on. Sorry, Dewey. Now, this has nothing to do with Mindy or the actress that plays Mindy, but I'm kind of starting to feel like this whole let's stand up and give the horror rule thing, it's kind of feeling like a spoof of Scream at this point. I'm still waiting for them to kind of flip it on us and make fun of that whole aspect of the movie. Now, I still really do enjoy the whole meta aspect of Scream that is a part of what makes Scream Scream, so they should continue that. I just wish in the future they do it in just a little bit of a different way. Later that night, Tara and Chad bond some more, then we get to officially unveil the Core 4 nickname. The four then sit down for dinner, but enough jerking each other off, Ghostface has got some more work to do. The group's interrupted by another Ghostface attack. They think it's just Quinn getting down again, but she's actually getting attacked, which Danny alerts them of with a photo. After trying to fight Ghostface off, some of the group's forced to separate in a bedroom with no way out other than the window. For some damn reason, this dude Danny's got a massive ladder in his apartment, so the group decides to shimmy across. But unfortunately for Annika, she's the lesser known character and small side love interest, so she's gotta go next, and brutally falls to her death. First, I've gotta say, this entire scene is pretty damn intense, and I could definitely feel the suspense in the theater the first time I watched this scene. But I've gotta say, this is New York, there's cops on every single corner. Why didn't they call the cops? The cops would have been there in just a second, or just where are the cops in this scene? Also, Danny, what are you doing? Why don't you just end up just running next door and helping? There's what, 5 or 6 of you and 2 big ass dudes included? We've got one killer with a knife. You guys could take him down. I mean, why could you not? I don't get it, but okay, Danny, just stand there and send pictures from next door. That helps. Turns out though, Ghostface left yet another mask, this time from the Windsor College killings in the second movie. Also, Wayne's been taken off the case after Quinn's death. However, he doesn't seem like he's gonna go disappear anytime soon.
You fuck with my family, you die.
Gale and Kirby then have their little Gale and Jennifer Jolie moment. Then Gale shows them an abandoned cinema she found while investigating the incidents. Turns out it's been turned into a shrine from the previous Ghostface killings, and we've got some cool ass shit in here. Let's run down some of the Easter eggs within this glorious Scream shrine. To the left, there's Tatum Riley's party outfit from Scream 1. That's the rope that was used to hang Casey Becker, which capped off that all-time great original Scream opening kill of Drew Barrymore. Stu Macher's knife, Billy Loomis's mom, Nancy Loomis's outfit from Scream 2 when she was pretending to be reporter Debbie Salt. One of the posters for Cotton Weary's show called 100% Cotton. If you remember, Cotton Weary was the one originally convicted of Sydney's mother's murder in Scream 1, but was later exonerated after the Billy and Stu reveal. Cotton would then go on to die in the opening to Scream 3. We've got Steve's varsity jacket from Scream 1996, who you might remember as the first ever kill in the franchise. In the upper left there is Sydney's half-brother, Roman Bridger's voice modulator from Scream 3, which I still think was a stupid addition to the franchise. And of course, we've got Billy Loomis's famous white bloody shirt along with Randy Meek's video store uniform, both from the OG Scream, Stu Macher's Hugh Hefner robe and TV that, air quotes, killed him, and every single goddamn Ghostface costume. No, but seriously, how the hell is this person getting all this evidence? Alright, well, regardless of the eye candy in the room, the Core 4's still becoming a little suspicious of Ethan because he was conveniently in a study group while everything went down in the apartment. As the others try to lure Ghostface out of hiding at a park similar to Scream 2, yeah, I'm still mad about Randy's death. Ghostface then calls, but they trace the call back to near where Gale lives. So they rush to Gale's place, but don't get there in time. Gale's boyfriend gets killed first, then Ghostface comes after Gale. They have a nice little tussle. Gale eventually gets her gun from her room, but ultimately Ghostface ends up with the upper hand. But just before the final slash, Sam and Tara arrive and Ghostface escapes. Courtney Cox actually did her own stunts for this scene. She's also said this was her favorite scene she's ever filmed in the franchise because she finally got to really fight Ghostface. Also, I've got to say, does Ghostface have a secret exit or something like that? Nobody noticed this goofy Grim Reaper running through the lobby, running down the stairs, nothing? The group then agrees to use the Ghostface shrine as a trap, so they plan to meet Kirby at the theater to execute the plan. But on the way there, Mindy and Ethan get separated and find themselves in another subway car. Amongst the tension, the lights flashing on and off, and the amazing Halloween costumes, Mindy eventually gets stabbed by Ghostface but seems to survive and gets taken to the hospital. I'm glad the Scream legal team was able to figure out a way to put all these cool-ass costumes in the movie. Apparently, as long as you don't use an action that character is really famous for, then you're good to go. Like, for example, if they would have shown Freddy Krueger dragging his glove across like a handrail or something like that, that would have caused some legal issues. But anyways, it's kind of a cool little fun fact. Inside the theater, as Sam looks at her dad's Ghostface costume and knife, she sees another hallucination of her dad, Billy Loomis. Billy tells her she's not safe and she should grab a weapon. So Sam decides to finally arm herself and take her dad's knife. I'm still trying to figure out why the Core 4 is never armed to begin with, but anyways. Wayne then calls Sam to let her know that Kirby was actually fired from the FBI months ago. Uh-oh. Sam also notices they've been locked inside. Chad and Tara are enjoying a little moment together, which gets interrupted by Ghostface. After the three kick some Ghostface ass, right as Chad's about to gumball smash one of them, the second Ghostface then pops out. Holy shit, two at the same time? Chad then gets turned into a human pincushion. Jesus. The ghost duo then does synchronized knife cleaning while Tara and Sam try to escape. They run into a bloody Kirby who claims one of them knocked her out. Then Wayne also shows up and both of them have their guns out, suspicious of each other. Wayne then shoots Kirby, revealing that he was in fact the man behind what's been going down. Essentially, the third Ghostface killer, well, fifth, I guess, kinda. And the other two are, drumroll, his kids, Ethan and Quinn? Turns out Wayne was the first one on the scene when Quinn was killed. He apparently just switched out the body for a new one and then kind of covered it in fake blood and prosthetics. But my question is, what was he gonna do when they brought the body to the morgue and identified the body? And also they're gonna notice the fake blood all over it and the prosthetics. What was his plan after that? Oh well, minor details. The three then reveal that they're actually Richie's family and are here to avenge his death. If you remember, Richie was Sam's boyfriend and one of the killers from the fifth movie. You know, the one that whined and cried a lot at the end? Yeah, that guy. They also revealed that they were the ones responsible for the smear campaign of Sam online and of course, planned to frame her for all this. But per usual, the killers monologue too long and it bites them in the ass. Kirby then pops up and starts the shenanigans. Sam and Tara eventually fight off the family. Tara Cirque du Soleil's down and stabs Ethan right in the mouth. And then Sam one-taps Quinn. You're not gonna duck or anything? All right. Wayne's there too though, but the bad news for Sam is that she's out of bullets. Wayne then, instead of just shooting her, I guess decides to make it a fair fight and anime run and tackle her, which causes them both to fall off the balcony. Damn, that looked painful. When Wayne wakes up though, Sam's gone. Sam then taunts Wayne with a phone call using the voice changer, then brutally stabs him over 30 times with her dad's Ghostface costume. Damn, she's got quick hands too. Tara then arrives and is like, "You good, bro?" And Sam says, "Shit, I'm just getting started, sis." Then makes Wayne the mayor of Paintown with a stab to the eyeball. Oh, and surprise, Ethan's somehow not dead yet. But that's alright because Kirby Stu Mockers his ass, smashing his head with Stu's TV, which I guess kills him? Maybe? Real excited for those Ethan rumors next. The police then arrive and we also learn that Chad and Gail have all survived. Oh, and also Mindy, who just sprints over to tell them she knows who the killers are. Little late. By the way, Mindy, that must be some damn good morphine. How the hell are you running right now? Okay, anyone else still alive? Now's your chance to pop out, guys. Billy, Stu, the poor bastard at the convenience store earlier, Roman, Angelina? Anyone? Then the movie officially ends with Sam taking one last look at her dad's Ghostface mask before tossing it on the ground, and then uniformly walking away with Danny and Tara. So will Sam's dark side end up winning in the end? I guess we'll have to wait and see. What you will not have to wait much longer for though is me telling you whether or not I enjoyed Scream 6. So let's talk about it. First, I want to start with some things I think the movie did well. Let's start off talking about the opening to the movie, which in my opinion is such a damn good opening and one of the best so far in the franchise. First of all, you've got Samara Weaving's character that plays that role just perfectly. She's waiting for a blind date, she's nervous. And then after Ghostface says, "Now I see red," and slashes, and we don't cut to the movie title sequence, you're just like, what is happening here? It's been what, 5, 6 straight movies now? We've always cut to the movie title of some kind, but now we don't? And then Ghostface, even on top of that, takes off the fucking mask. You're like, what is happening here? You could just feel the floor fall out of the movie theater, and everybody just kind of was like, what is going on? This is new, this is fresh, this is something different. I also love the little Jason Takes Manhattan Easter egg that we see there just for a second. That's a cool little nod. And we get little nods like that all throughout the movie, but the intro just has so many new, fresh things to it. Obviously, the new setting and all the things that I mentioned just a second ago. It's hard to kind of reinvent an intro that you're so famous for 6 movies in, but they definitely did it in this one. And the intro is just damn good, damn intense, and so well done. All capped off at the end with saying, who gives a fuck about movies? When Ghostface says that, it's just a great line and just an overall, just a really good intro. Another positive for me in this movie is the Ghostface. You could argue this is the angriest and grittiest Ghostface so far in the franchise. This isn't your typical Ghostface like in the other movies that's just clumsy and is kind of that killer next door that doesn't really know what he's doing. This Ghostface is pissed off. This meaner, tougher, less clumsy Ghostface is not everybody's cup of tea, but I definitely enjoyed it, and it definitely lent itself to some really, really intense moments throughout the movie, especially that scene at the convenience store, just to name one. I couldn't help but think about the Jurassic Park kitchen scene with the raptors when I was watching that scene. They had to have been inspired by that, I would imagine. I haven't read anything about that, but it just felt so similar and was shot really, really well. But Ghostface in this movie is just a badass. The mask is great, this new, more worn mask, kind of like Halloween 2018's mask. It's also kind of crazy to think that you could technically argue that we have 4, maybe 5 Ghostfaces in this movie, which is just crazy to me. Also, that scene towards the end of the movie where both of them are attacking at once. I don't know, something just felt so different and new about that, about seeing 2 Ghostfaces going at it at once. You know, it just felt new and fresh and just like there's more stakes and just more violence and just more of everything. A lot of other Screams claim like, okay, we're gonna be a sequel, we're gonna be bigger, bloodier, more, there's gonna be more stakes. But a lot of them don't really feel that way, even have less violence than the movie before it. But this movie doesn't feel that way. It definitely feels like there's just more. There's more gore, there's more violence, it's grittier, it's bigger, the setting's bigger. Plus, on top of that, I think this is possibly one of Roger Jackson's best performances in the franchise. He does such a good job as Ghostface's voice again. But overall, the Ghostface in this movie, really enjoyed it. Speaking of Ghostface, I also really enjoyed the Ghostface shrine in this movie. It just gives you a lot of nostalgia, kind of brings things around back to the end. With so many new, fresh things in this movie, it can kind of almost feel like a different movie. You know, you've got new characters, a new setting, just all these new things. But these little tidbits of nostalgia with like Stu's TV, the old costumes, the old knives, the old just props and other things like that really helps to just bring it around and remind you, like, this is Scream. This is the movie you watched in 1996. This is the movie you have so much nostalgia for. And just all those little nods just help to bring everything around and just make it a more well-rounded movie to me. Also, as we know, Scream likes to incorporate things that are kind of happening today in society. So I enjoyed the whole fact, and I thought it was a good aspect of the movie, the whole like, we're not only gonna kill you, but we're also gonna kill your character at the same time and kind of smear you online. I enjoyed that. I thought it was very relevant, and I thought it was just a smart aspect to the storyline. Another positive to me in this movie are the characters. I feel like the core 4 in this movie are way better than they were in the 5th movie. For example, in the 5th movie, you've got Jenna Ortega's character basically doing like a Laurie Strode Halloween 2 type of a vibe. She's mainly in a hospital bed. She's mainly in the hospital throughout the movie, not really doing a whole lot. Whereas in this movie, she's way more of a focal point, which is a great thing for the movie because Jenna Ortega is she's just a fucking talent. She's so good, and there's a reason why she's become so big so far in her career. Apparently, Melissa Barrera was a little bit hurt by the feedback she'd heard about her performance in the 5th movie, or just her character in general in the 5th movie. And the entire production has basically said for this movie, there was just a different vibe in the air from her, and she definitely came out to prove something in this movie. Her character in the 5th movie, like I mentioned in my review of that 5th movie, was definitely forgettable to me. I didn't really think it was necessarily her fault. It was more so just the way her character was written. I thought her acting was really, really good, but just the way her character kind of fit into the story, the way her character was written, didn't really work for me. It didn't really land for me, and obviously didn't land for a lot of other people. But in this movie, she was fantastic. She did such a good job in this movie, and I'm fully confident her character can carry this franchise on forward and be definitely a mainstay in the franchise. Overall, her character though, very, very good, and she definitely came out with a vengeance in this movie. All of the core four were pretty damn solid in this movie. You've got Chad's character I thought was really good in this movie, better than he was in the 5th movie. He's very likable in this movie. He's trying to help his roommate Ethan get laid. He's helping Tara throughout the movie. He's bonding with Tara throughout the movie. He's kicking Ghostface's ass at some points in the movie. Also, his sister, Mindy, I thought she did a really, really good job and was better in this movie than she was in the 5th. Like I mentioned earlier, that could do without all of the let's shove the horror rules down your throat for the 6th time in this franchise, that whole thing. But that's not her fault. I thought Mindy was really good in this movie as well. Also, I thought Gale was much better in this movie than she was in the 5th movie. I thought in the 5th movie, they focused too much on the whole Gale-Dewey breakup thing, whereas in this movie, it felt like she was more so back to her old ways. I felt like her apartment fight with Ghostface was tense and well choreographed, even though she should have just stayed in the bedroom with the gun until the cops came. But overall, I thought Gale's character was just good in this one. It's also kind of crazy that we got the first ever phone call between Gale and Ghostface. That was pretty cool. Lastly, I also want to talk about the New York setting for this movie, which I really enjoyed. And I also kind of feel like it fits the tone of the movie and also kind of the tone of the Ghostface in this movie. A lot of times when you think about New York, you think about this city that's kind of cold, gritty, and almost mean in a way. And that really fits the Ghostface in this movie. The Ghostface mask is worn, and this is arguably one of the meanest and more gritty Ghostfaces we've ever seen. It's kind of a perfect match. There's also something uniquely scary about setting a horror movie in a big city surrounded by a lot of people. It adds a whole new aspect and a whole new tone to the movie. You could get killed by anyone at any time. The killer could pop out anywhere because there's so many people around. It's almost like you're alone amongst so many different people. And there's just something uniquely scary about that. Now let's talk about some of the negatives. And yes, I'll talk about the plot armor here for a minute. Jesus, leave me alone. And I know these are some of the most invincible characters so far in the franchise. That's not really gonna be necessarily a negative for me, and I'll talk about why. But if you do really want me to talk about it, okay, I will. This is a movie, this isn't the news, so sometimes things are unrealistic. This is also Scream. We've got a lot of unrealistic things in the past. We should be used to this. Also, I mean, just case in point, anytime anybody puts on the Ghostface mask or costume, they're all of a sudden the same height. They're all of a sudden have this superhuman strength. This is standard Scream. It's never been based on too much realism. Yes, it feels very relatable as a story, but come on, guys. This is standard Scream. It's not exactly believable in so many ways. And honestly, guys, what would you rather the production focus on, realism or entertainment? The directors have openly said, like for example, in Chad's scene, they've openly said that they kind of ditched realism for the more effective scene. And I know while you're watching it, it kind of seems a little bit ridiculous. But guys, just think about it for a second. I'm willing to sacrifice the momentary kind of satisfaction of, oh, that's realistic, or oh, that makes sense, or the fact that we'll get to see characters like Chad in later movies in the franchise. And I know when they kill off characters, it makes it just feel like there's more stakes, that anybody can die, a la Drew Barrymore in the first movie. But if you think about it, it's kind of cool. I mean, we're gonna still get Mindy and Chad and some of the other characters later on in the franchise, which is awesome. I would kind of accept that instead of just getting this momentary kind of satisfaction that, oh, that was such a real scene. They pulled that off so well. I'm willing to sacrifice the two. And like I said, it's realism, guys. It's not realism, I should say. This is a movie. This isn't the news. So this is Scream. This is standard Scream stuff. What do we expect? Anyways, guys, now we could talk about the plot armor for a long time, but I want to get into some more of the negatives here for a moment, and specifically some of the negatives in the third act of the movie, which felt a little bit messy to me at times. First of all, the core four, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, why are they never armed? I don't understand that. That makes no sense. Something, a bat, something, a lamp, just carry it around, just something. I get it, you don't want to quickly kill off the killers and make it too easy or too quick. You want to draw out the ending, but something to fight back with, right? Bring it with you. I mean, Sam used the taser earlier on in the movie. Bring that. Where's the taser? I just, no weapons. That whole thing was a little bit irritating. Also, that entire part where Officer Bailey has what we presume to be a loaded gun and then basically just runs after Sam, just runs right at her and tackles her instead of shooting her. That whole thing kind of felt just silly and weird to me, and just, you know, like what is going on here? What are we watching here? Also, just the whole reveal at the end to me felt like one of the worst so far in the franchise. I'd probably put it right up there with Roman's reveal in the third movie. It just wasn't that great to me. Like, we get it, you're kind of like making it like Scream 2. It's kind of like Billy's mom, you know, who was avenging her son's death. Now we've got Richie's dad who's avenging his son's death. But I just didn't feel like people really cared about Richie that much to begin with. Now you're making another movie, tipping your cap to Richie. It just kind of, like, whatever. Do we really even care about Richie or his family? Not really. So I would say it's one of the worst reveals so far in the franchise. To me, you might have really enjoyed it, but that's just my opinion. But just the third act overall was just kind of sloppy to me. And, you know, the earlier parts of the movie were much better than the last quarter of the movie. Another negative for me was that Danny guy that lived next door. I just felt like his character was pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure he's a cool guy in real life and all that, but the dialogue just felt awkward and kind of weird to me, and just his character overall. His character also had several moments in the movie where you're like yelling at your screen, like, what are you doing? Do this instead. Like, for example, when they're being attacked next door and he's trying to get their attention, he's just like, oh, I'm just gonna text you. Throw something at the window, scream louder, do something, run next door, God, something, anything. I'm pretty sure it's one ghost face with a knife. Pretty sure 2 big ass dudes and then 4 other girls could probably take him. Run next door, do something, anything, for the love of God. But anyways, yes, as you can tell, don't really like Danny's character. I mean, I also kind of have to mention Gale's fuck buddy that got just tossed around like a rag doll by Quinn. I mean, come on, guys. I was born before, but I wasn't born yesterday. Also, another negative for me was basically any scene with Kirby and Detective Wayne. It just felt like a bad afternoon episode of Law and Order to me. I don't know, there's just something about it. Also, the whole factor of Kirby now being an FBI agent. There's a part of me that kind of wishes Kirby would be in the movie business. She was such a big movie buff and she just loved that so much. Kind of wish she would have done, you know, I kind of wish the movie would have gone that route a little bit instead. I get it though, like she was a part of or witnessed or was a victim to these vicious murders that had happened before, and now she wants to kind of make sure it doesn't happen again. I get that, but the whole like, I'm an FBI agent now, it kind of just felt a little bit corny to me. Lastly, now this is just a little bit of a nitpick, but Chad's character had several moments where he could have easily finished off Ghostface, and you're just like yelling at the TV like, come on man, just do it already, just do it. And I get it, we gotta draw it out, we gotta make the movie more interesting, we can't just kill off our villains right away. I get it, but still, as somebody watching the movie, you're like, what are you doing? Kill him, do it. I get it though. With all that said, I'm gonna have to go with a grab on Scream 6. This isn't your run-of-the-mill Scream movie. We get a lot of new, fresh things in this movie. The Ghostface is badass in this movie. The setting is good. They tie in a lot of nostalgia in this movie. The kills are pretty solid. And despite some of the major flaws in this movie, especially in that third act when it gets a little bit sloppy, this movie's just really, really fun to me, and the rewatchability of this movie is very, very high. I remember leaving the theater for the first time when I saw this movie, and I just was thinking like, I can't wait to see this movie again, and that's always a good sign. I wanted to see it again right away. I also always recommend people watch Scream movies more than once. I think the first time you watch a Scream movie, you're kind of really focused on like the breadcrumbs and figuring out who the killer is gonna be and what's gonna happen at the very end on the reveal. Whereas the second time around in the movie, you get to really just forget about that kind of aspect of it. And now that you already know who the killers are, you get to focus on things like the cinematography, the witty jokes, the characters, the tense moments, and just the other good parts about what makes Scream Scream. So I always recommend people watch Scream movies more than once. Also, I'm sorry to say, don't kill me, but there won't be a Who Killed Who for Scream 6. And it's just because some of the scenes were just damn near impossible to figure out who killed who. Specifically Dr. Stone's death, like I've got nothing for you on that one. So sorry, there won't be a Who Killed Who for Scream 6. But there you go, that wraps up my review of Scream 6. Be on the lookout for new videos which come out every single Friday. But in the meantime, everybody, I'm Matt McFarland, and you just finished watching Grab or Stab. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my review of Scream 6. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new here and you have not already done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications as well. All of my social media links will be down below in the description if you want to go and follow me over there. But like I mentioned earlier, be on the lookout for new videos which come out every single Friday. But anyways, everybody, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.